A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Tuesday edition of the show. It's the first one for the week. We promise to make it worth your while. I'm Yemi Adebayo. It's all about the FIFA Women's World Cup. That's what we're going to be talking about today as we look ahead to the second game of the Super Falcons at the FIFA Women's World Cup. By the way, that's going to be in 2 days' time. We look at all the things that have happened today. I will also spare a thought for things happening on the domestic scene. Well, as you know, it's a two-man show, and my colleague and partner on this show, Austin Okonakman, is suited and ready. Austin, greetings to you. Once again, we are here to take a trip across the money-spinning world of sports.
What a greetings to you, Yemi, and shout out to everyone joining us on the show tonight. What an action-packed world of sports. Yemi, we listened to the Philippines just before the start of the FIFA Women's World Cup, and they told us that they would dare to dream. One would have thought, who would have predicted that after 2 matches, that Group A table will look the way it is? What a story. Impossible is nothing in our world of sports. The Philippines will not just relish the opportunity of competing for the first time at the FIFA Women's World Cup. They will look back at this victory that they got today and say to themselves that they can actually do more.
Yeah, they can, and we'll be talking about them. And the debutants have not fared badly, apart from maybe Zambia that got hit 5 by Japan. All right, let's quickly introduce my partner in the Lagos studio. Kehinde Idris joins us now. Kehinde, greetings to you. Thanks for finding out time to be with us on the show. We're in that season where we'll be talking about the FIFA Women's World Cup. So thanks for joining us. Your thoughts? The few matches you've seen, your thoughts generally?
It's good to be here. It's good to always look forward to Tuesday and get to make the show. Austin, also, good evening to you. In the stadium of Tottenham, there is an inscription, "Today is to do." When you dare, you have to do. So I think that is what so many debutants. I watched Jamaica versus France. They are not debutants, but you know, Jamaica, quote and unquote, not so much of a footballing nation. This is their second time at the World Cup. We saw how they played. Sometimes I think for the smaller team, no disrespect, all you need to do is basic football, manage your big opponents, and then get the results. I watched also South Africa play Sweden. That was another very massive game. South Africa would have gotten a result, not minding the fact that they're African champions and all of that. They are miles away from Sweden. Sweden is one of the powerhouses.
All right.
And, you know, you get so many of this. Morocco was hit for 6, maybe as expected. Also, we saw how Zambia was also, walloped 5-0. But in all of it, I think the FIFA Women's World Cup, moving it from the number it used to be to 32, I think this is the right saying. When you say the more the merrier, it's so, beautiful watching all of this games.
And the fear was always that maybe the standard would drop. That hasn't happened.
No, it did not.
All right, let's take a look at the results. I'm just going to walk up and take you through the results. That's what we're going to do next, and we'll talk about what happened. Austin has already hinted us. We're going to be talking about the Philippines. They got a job done, a nation that was probably on the sporting map, brought on the sporting map by the boxer Manny Pacquiao, but now the ladies are getting the job done. So once we have that, we'll go to the screen. I'm talking about the Philippines. My opinion, I thought they were unlucky in the first game. A lot could have happened if their first goal was not chopped off. But today, New Zealand, happy a few days ago, sad today. They lost to the Philippines by a lone goal. Switzerland and Norway cancelled each other out goalless. So in Group A, it's still very open. It's still very open, and of course the Swedes would lead the way in that one. And then, of course, in Group H, Colombia defeated South Korea 2-0. Those are the results as you have them on screen. Let me just quickly go to Austin to talk about the Philippines. I was impressed. Even with their first game, they had a goal chopped off for offside, and that goal didn't count. It changed the complexion of the game. But looking at how they played, it didn't look like the occasion was bigger than them. To be honest, I didn't see this game live, but I wasn't surprised that that won the game.
I thought that first game against the Swiss, got them thinking that they can actually do something at this World Cup. I think it also pumped up their determination as we were ready to take on New Zealand. I remember, I said it on this show that with that stunning result that New Zealand produced against Norway, the Philippines can believe right after they lost to Switzerland. And that's what they did. This is a clear story of get one chance and take it, and that was all they did. The hosts dominated the game, created more chances. But look, this is one of those days where football said, look, I'm going to shine on the Philippines. And that's what happened. Incredible results. Debutants having their first win at the World Cup. I looked at the statistics and I'm like, wow, what just happened today? New Zealand got 70% of the ball possession. The Philippines only struggled to maybe start from a goal kick, touch the ball some few times, and then New Zealand takes over. But New Zealand couldn't just convert those chances. The Philippines, one chance, one goal, went on to win 1-0 and puts them in a good position now. We would have thought that favorites from that group, Norway, will be at the bottom after 2 matches. Now it's very dicey because Norway gets to play the Philippines in their final group match, and that's one we definitely get the Philippines pumped up. And those women, they are ready to also put their names on the map, get people to talk about them. We've said it as who used to talk about the Philippines and sports, if not for Manny Pacquiao. But today, all over the world, the media, as long as they're reporting sports or football, mention the Philippines because of this stunning result that they achieved over New Zealand today.
All right, very, very interesting. Let's go ahead and listen, of course, to take some reactions from that game. Philippines stunning their opponents, the co-host, New Zealand. Take some reactions, and we'll be back for more.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll keep it next to the World Cup trophy when we get it. But it feels amazing, and hopefully this isn't the last accolade we achieve. This is a team win. This isn't just me. This isn't just what I've done. This is what the team's done. This is what the coaching staff has done, what everyone behind the scenes has done. We've put in our work, and we've come out on top because of it, and, we can't stop now. We've got much more work to do.
Of course we rode our luck. Of course New Zealand, had 3 or 4 unbelievable chances, and the VAR call and the inside of the post, and, if it was a true reflection of a football match, they deserve something in the game. But, as I said, the unity and work rate and heart from the team was special, and we had some luck, but we also earned our luck, and for that, it's just a special moment in the history of Philippines team sport. I don't know if there's been a bigger win. Obviously Pacquiao individually, but for team sport, it would have to be one of the best achievements in the history of the country. No doubt, throughout the match, if it's a boxing match, they were the better team, but, we earned that win through all those, other qualities that make this team special. Yeah, there is no celebration, to be honest. They'll celebrate till midnight, and, our team ethos has been the same for the last 18 months. You win, lose or draw, we celebrate or cry till midnight, and then the next day's a new day. So, I know that we'll get to see some family members tonight and enjoy that special moment and celebrate. But, tomorrow it's back to work. The job's not done. It's very important that we switch back into competition mode and think about what we have to do in the last game to try and squeeze out of this group.
All right. The Filipinos, obviously, very happy. Let me go to Kehinde Idris now, and quickly, let me allow you to throw in a few words before we talk about the second game. This result, just a quick response. Did this surprise you?
Maybe a bit, but I watched Switzerland versus the Philippines. It looked like from the results, this is how it's supposed to be. Switzerland was supposed to be Philippines. But if you had watched that game, you understand this is a team on a mission, and they showed that in the second game. First game, they were flattered. The result did not really show, the basics that it did. But I said that in my opening. I think the smaller teams or the debutants or those teams not known, so much for being a footballing nation when it comes to women's football, are doing something. And what is that thing they are doing? Do the basics. Soak up pressure, because these big teams will bring pressure down to you. And then take your chances whenever they come. For the Philippines, I think this is beautiful. And for all of the interviews and also the ones I've heard before, coming here, they are humble still. That is, they are still hungry for more. It's not them, being over the moon because they achieved this, forgetting that there's still one more game for them to qualify. So with this, I think they understand what the deal is. Get the final result and then be at the knockout round, and that will be massive for any media house.
All right, it's going to be massive. A lot of us love Cinderella stories. I mean, look at the dance, look at the moves, look at how excited all of these people are. All right, let's move on and talk about the other game that was played. And well, again, Austin quite rightly hinted before the tournament, if you were thinking that after 2 matches, you probably think Norway would be on top, that they would win. Probably be head and shoulders above. Now the Norwegians are fighting for their life. They are barely in because it turned out, it was an anticlimax really because it was goalless. And they are hanging on by the skin of their teeth. That's what's happening to Norway at this point. And even though I'm not a gambling person, you could almost put whatever you have that the Norwegians might just not make it past the first round. That's a bold call I'm making on the show tonight. I'm usually not a gambling person, but from the way it looks, pedigree and all things thrown out of the window, it looks like they might not because they need to win and things elsewhere also have to go their way for them. But let me see if Austin agrees with me. Austin, what's left for the Norwegians now? They have a point. They have to win. And whatever is happening on the other side has to favor them. New Zealand probably has to win. I think that's their safest bet.
Yeah, and with what I saw with New Zealand today, I think the win over Norway was a big rush of blood to the brain, because with the chances they created today, I thought they would have just done more than enough to go on to win. While on the other side, Norway and Switzerland enjoyed the ball possession. I think they had 57% of the ball, but Norway created the chances. The Norwegians, I think, had 5 clear shots on goal, but it didn't just happen for them today, And with what I'm seeing, Switzerland made more saves to stop the Norwegian team. They were now playing under some bit of pressure because they just needed to get that goal after losing their first match, but it didn't happen. It ended goalless, and that puts them in a very difficult position on that Group A table. This is what they need to do against the Philippines. They just need to go out there and win well, win properly, win big, disregard whatever is happening in the other game between New Zealand and Switzerland. It's going to be a very tight contest because, the fans will come out to support the co-hosts so that they can make it to the round of 16. So for Norway, get your campaign back on track and then see what will happen in the other matches. But with the story that the Philippines, they've told already, you could tell from our analysis that in their first game, they were a bit unfortunate. They showed determination, they showed purpose. And remember, again, we listened to them before the start of the World Cup saying, look, we would like to get the world to talk about us. And now they are talking about this Filipinos women's football team. That can motivate them against Norway. And they might just go out there to complete this Cinderella story that they started telling us. I love it, Yemi. I love it, Kende Idris. I love it, football fans. I love upsets. I love oddity. Can the Philippines do it? But I first need to worry about the Super Falcons of Nigeria and Australia.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a bit. But do you think the Norwegians, just a quick one before, I don't know if you saw Colombia and South Korea, because that's where we're going next. I'm beginning to think that the Norwegians will be lucky if they're still in this tournament after the 3rd game.
They will be lucky. I think they're a decent side. I think they are a respected women's football, country, and it will be good to see them in the round of 16. They will win. Let me come out and say it boldly that they will do just enough to win against the Philippines, but they need to win big. And when I say win big, if they go and score 1-0 or 2-1, the Philippines might stun them. It might end in a draw or something. So they need to come out and put a sort of shift that we saw the likes of Brazil put up, and I think Italy did put up a good shift also against
Germany.
Argentina. Create chances, take them. Not necessarily should they end 5-0 or 6-0, but do just enough to win it so that you know you've done your part and leave the rest to the god of football.
All right, leave the rest to the God of football, and you will be hoping that that God will be on your side. All right, next game, next port of call, Colombia, South Korea. Wasn't a good start for South Korea, as you would expect. One of the strong sides when it comes to women's football, China, South Korea, they seem to always, but Colombia, Kane Idris, I don't know if you saw this game. Not the kind of result I was expecting. I felt at the very least that the Koreans would get a draw out of this game, but Colombia, they did belong to them.
Yeah, the way they qualified from their region. I guess that is where the fear started from, and then not the fear for myself. I mean, for anybody they will be playing against. Sometimes the manner at which you get your qualification, the manner at which you get your ticket might just be all you need as a push for you to do well at the tournament. And I think that is what Colombia is still riding upon. They did so well, to get past these big teams in their, in their region right there. And getting to the World Cup, they understand what the group stands for. Hey, you get your first game right against South Korea, and I think you're on a good verge.
All right. Okay. Quickly before we're done with this, the scoreline, was it a fair reflection of what played out?
For me, it was. Sometimes we see football differently, but from the game I saw, I think Colombia deserved it.
All right, let's move on quickly as fast as we can and look at tomorrow's fixtures. It's going to come up on your screen. I'm talking about Group A, Group B. Everybody has played few number of matches, and there you have it in Group B. Canada will be up against Ireland, and of course in Group C, Japan will be up against Costa Rica. Spain will be up against Zambia. And the Spaniards are saying they're going to be taking the Zambians very seriously. That the fact that they considered 5 is a testament of how good the Japanese are, not how poor the Zambians are. That's what is coming out from the camp of the Spaniards. Costa Rica, Japan, will see. A couple of guys have told us that this Japanese team reminds them of the 2011 team. We'll see. We'll see whether or not that's going to be the case. All right, so that's it. Let me go to Austin quickly to get his take on this one and see if we have a few minutes before we can go on a break. I mean, you look at those. I know we are tempted, when we see Canada, we are tempted to talk about the Super Falcons, but let's hold it. Let's hold it. Those 3 matches that we're going to see tomorrow, your take?
I think Canada and the island will give us a good show of football, and that's an interest to the Super Falcons, so we need to monitor it. I thought the Irish team, they did just enough in their first match against Australia, but it didn't just happen for them. And I also think that they're a decent side. The Canadians, they will read those chances that they missed against the Super Falcons, and so they will want to come all out against the Irish team. I think it's going to be an even match because now people have played one game each, and then you can now go back and review and see where you can punish your opponent. So whatever happens in that one happens, but a draw would just fine if the Super Falcons can go on to beat Australia. Then if Canada and Ireland play out a scoreless draw, I'll shake hands and tell them thank you. Japan and Costa Rica, there's just something about Japan and women's football, the way they move, their telepathy, the understanding amongst themselves and all of that just tells you that they enjoy what they're doing, when they play. So I'll give this to Japan anytime against Costa Rica. And then Spain and Zambia, people can say whatever they want to say. I still think that Zambia were really unfortunate in their first match. And that's because they are new to this stage. Goalkeeper Catherine Musonga did put up a fantastic game, until a red card. I thought she did just enough before the goal started pouring in. A little bit of poor coordination and losing the ball, just messed them up in that first game. But let's see how they can pick themselves back up and tell a beautiful story, just as what we're we're seeing from the Filipino women's football team. So I'd like to see Zambia go on to win that one. Don't ask me why. It would just be good to see Zambia with everything that they did just before they got here. They defeated Germany just before this competition started, 3-2, and we saw what the Germans did to Morocco. So if they can just go back, tweak their mentality, and say, let's get back into this, they might do the unthinkable. Sports Tonight on Channels Television. Let's go on a quick break now. When we come back, I know you are itching to hear us talk about the Super Falcons and their game, and their second game coming up against Australia. We'll do just that, so don't go anywhere. Stay. Welcome back, Sports Tonight on Channels Television. We're talking about the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023. Some teams have already played 2 matches. Other teams are gearing up to get into their second match. We talked about the beautiful story the Philippines women's team told us today when they stunned co-host New Zealand by a single goal. We're also trying to see what Zambia can do after a devastating fall in their first match against Japan. They lost 5-0. What can they do when they take on Spain? Spain, by the way, defeated Costa Rica 3-0 in their first match. Another game that is of importance to us in that Group C is a game between Canada and Ireland. That's because the Super Falcons opened their campaign with a scoreless draw against Canada. Canada will take on Ireland, and there's been some talking points. Let's listen to that, and then we'll come back. We'll talk about the Super Falcons.
First and foremost, match that passion, hard work, horrible team to play against, and that's what we pride ourselves on. So we 1,000,000% have to match that first, and they know that about Canada too. I think it's probably a two-way street, but yeah, I think ultimately we've got to stay with the process and what we think it's going to take to beat this Irish team and stay clear-headed, because I think there's parts of the Irish team where if you're not careful, you can get drawn into that and it can take you down a route that's going to take us off task. I think we've got the experience in the team to ride that and bring out our quality when it matters.
Coming out of the first game, we got a point, and we really took the time to analyze, to see little areas where we need to tweak a bit more. But we have complete confidence in our team and in our abilities. And so, yeah, that metaphor just shows that, any team coming into this tournament can win it. And we have shown, being Olympic champions, that we have the experience in tournament play at the highest level. And we're taking it day by day, and we're really excited going into Ireland, and we're just super focused for that.
That's the spirit. That's the sort of mentality Canada needs to take into that game against Ireland. And listening to the coach, Bev Priestman, she understands that the Irish team can be dangerous. Okay, Idris, the Canadians, they are Olympic champions. That's enough motivation for them. They are ranked 7th in the world in terms of women's football. The Irish team, they're just, jumping on regional football development. What England is doing, they are seeing. What France is doing, they are seeing. What Italy is doing, they are seeing. Can that, be something that they can use, particularly after seeing the way they pushed so hard against Australia in their first game, but they still lost it?
Yeah, I think right now, in this game, Ireland looks like they've got more advantage, better advantage. Canada, if you take out Australia from that group because of their experience, a very good female team, Canada looks like the best team in that group. But after that game against Super Falcons, number one, their invisibility, they became very visible. So that is one pressure on one side. And they were brought back to reality to understand if you don't play well, your name, your clout, your achievements, and all of that counts for nothing. And that is where the pressure lies for Canada. Now there is fear that we might not, if we don't do well, qualify for, the second, for the knockout round. And if you have that at the back of your mind, I think that's trouble. For Ireland, they understand what it is. And even in the group, if they do not qualify, it's not so much of a story. So for Ireland, they need to build on this. For Canada, I think this is where you need to stamp your authority. They have to beat Canada. But like you said, hey, For going by the story of the Super Falcons, they shouldn't beat Ireland. But it
Ireland,
looks like
yeah,
Canada
Ireland
would
is
take this
ranked
at the end of the day.
22nd, and as Bev Priestman said, that they can stun any team on a good day. Yeah, I'm sure Canada, they will go and take a look at that Group A table and see Norway, with all of their superpower, their supremacy in women's football, struggling at the bottom. Canada will say, no, 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 we need to get that win.
Yeah, that's true. That gives them the opportunity to see how they can try to turn things around. On the strength of that performance against Canada, a lot of Nigerians have become very optimistic. So that takes us to where we want to be now, which is talking about the Super Falcons of Nigeria. They've been receiving a lot of goodwill messages, a lot of encouragement, a lot of people impressed with the way they played against Canada. And, of course, tonight on the show, there's a message sent to them by the NFF president, Ibrahim Gusau, talking directly to the Super Falcons and encouraging them to get the job done. So let's just quickly read out what he has said. And he said, as comments attributed to the NFF President Ibrahim Gusau. He says, as 9-time champions of Africa and one of the only 7 countries to have played in every edition of the FIFA Women's World Cup, Nigeria is the real giant and hope of the African continent in Australia. While we expect Morocco, Zambia, and South Africa to turn things around in their next matches, my message is that the Super Falcons must focus hard on the ball against the Australians in order to keep Africa's song going. Ibrahim Gusau, NFF president. And trust me, a lot of people agree with what he has said, and the optimism is very high. Kennedy Idris, we're pressed for time, but I want to get your thoughts quickly. This is the kind of message you want to read.
Yeah.
A lot of us were a bit apprehensive with all the episodes, Randy and wage issues and all of that. But after the first game, there's a lot of calm, and that is why you're seeing this kind of message. Yeah. But how optimistic are you that against the Aussies, we can get something?
Okay, before even the first game, I said something in different platforms and also, to colleagues and friends. I said, if you take out the drama between the coach and the administrators, going close to the girls, watch their training, listen to them, they are very, very, very spirited before going to Australia at all. They said they want to go there and do Africa so well and do themselves proud also. And I was leaning on that. And after watching the first game, even those who did not see that in close range and those who didn't believe so much jumped on the train. And I think that is where we are right now. The girls, the women, talking about the Super Falcons, the gladiators on the pitch, they will continue to do what they know how to do and what they want to go to Australia and New Zealand to do. Go there with all of the high spirit and do justice to games. Fight. You can see, I watched Odega, I watched, Abiodun Deborah. Sorry that she got a red card. I saw Chebe. All of these girls, they gave their, more than 100% on that day.
They gave more than 100%, and that's the spirit. Hopefully, that will continue. Hopefully, we'll be able to come here on Friday and be all smiles. That's what we're hoping for. But then again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Still a lot of matches to enjoy before we get to that. Let me go to Austin now. Lined up next for us is still women's football, but it's back home here, the Prosperity Cup. But I know you want to say it, too, even though we're pressed for time. Even before that game, you were optimistic. I became optimistic after that game. And the optimism is everywhere now.
I was thinking you're going to say my optimism rubbed off on you, and then I dragged you into the train. But it's all good. I'm glad you're optimistic. Now, that's all we can do. We can only support these ladies. And remember, when the shenanigans between Coach Randy Waldrum and the NFF was happening, I said to the ladies, stay focused, and see what you can get out of this World Cup. And I'm glad that they didn't lose that first game against Canada. And for me, that's the most difficult game in the group. You got a point out of it. Stay focused. I like that line that Ibrahim Gusau, the NFF president, used, that keep the song going. They started a sweet song. We join them now in singing that song. They mustn't pause it. It shouldn't stop. Let's keep that sweet song going. I predict a 1-0 or 2-1 win for the Super Falcons tomorrow against Australia. Go beat Australia and then finish the job off against Ireland, because this is a World Cup where every result matters as you go on in the competition. So all the best to the Super Falcons. We say we're rooting for you. We solidly support everything you're doing right there in Australia and New Zealand, and we're confident that this thing will solve. Let's bring the conversation back home now and still stay with women's football. We've been talking about the Prosperity Cup. This is the 5th edition, but we've been talking only about the men. So I'm sure people say, wait, is it only men that plays football? This is a good grassroots football initiative. So they say, okay, the final is on Sunday. Let's find a way to get women into the mix. And I love it so much. I love this inclusion, because while we do for the men, we should also do for the women. Just 4 teams, but they're going to have them compete amongst themselves. And it's the beginning of something good for women's football in Bayelsa State at the grassroots stage. And I want to dump it on Kehinde Idris now, because you could tell in the last 3 years, Bayelsa has got us talking with women's football. When you take it to the grassroots, you're doing nothing but consolidating on those efforts.
And the effort gets to tell in a couple of years from when you started it. And we were just talking about 3 years, and look at what Bayelsa is enjoying today. Success after success. The Bayelsa women, the Queens, represented Nigeria at the continent at the 2nd edition of the CAF Women's Champions League. That success also in the league just concluded, just by the skin of the teeth, they got to miss out. They still pushed on, and that is what Bayelsa is doing. That is what Delta is doing. That is what Edo, is doing. You keep giving, to the grassroots, and before you know it, everything you're dumping there will rise, will come together as a whole, and it will be beautiful. And we're talking Prosperity Cup. And Bayelsa, wrestling used to be the sports we talk about when if you mention Bayelsa, you just go to wrestling. Yep. Today, go to the National Youth Games, talk about the National Sports Festival. Bayelsa is competing favorably, and that's what you do. And football, the queen of all sports, or you say the king of all sports, whichever way, is now taking center stage and is growing gradually. I think Bayelsa should get all of the thumbs up, we should give them at this time.
I totally agree, and I like the fact that with the Prosperity Cup getting all of the tractions they're getting, it's good that now they have added women into the conversation, and that's really, really good, Yemi.
Yeah, very, very good. Let's just quickly take some reactions. You saw pictures of the draw and some of the things they're planning to do. As you know, on this show, we always want to focus on some of these things. Let's take that and come back for more as we wrap things up on the show.
Today, it's really important that we start the female version of the Prosperity Cup. Of course, our Bayelsa Queens are the premier brand when we talk about female football in the country. And it's only fitting that we start exposing our young girls to the Prosperity Cup, which would in the future give us a lot of ammunition for the feeder team for the female team, and also to be able to acquire other experiences with other teams in the national teams, other national teams in Nigeria.
Competition started, I wasn't excited at all because the female were not included. I even asked him, I said, why? He said, I think he was not ready. I think he will do something about it. I'm very, very happy. I'm excited. This is the first time this is happening, and so I think we will continue. Even next time, maybe more than 10 teams will join.
All right, so Daniel Igali there, of course, a man very renowned for wrestling and sports in Bayelsa State. All right, our last port of call on the show tonight is Continental Club competitions. CAF Champions League is what you have on your screen. And, of course, Nigeria's representatives will be there. Of course, the Aba Elephants, Sahimba, will be up against Ali Benghazi of Libya. First leg comes up between August 18 to 20 in Libya. The team from Ghana, Madema, FC of Ghana, will trade tackles with Nigeria's Remo Stars. First leg comes up around the same time between August 18 to 20. And it's in Ghana. Whether it's an advantage, we're playing first legs away, we'll see. Let's flip quickly, if we can, and go to the CAF Confederation Cup and see, of course, two teams also representing Nigeria in that one. While we wait for that, let's quickly talk about this ones as well. Bendel Insurance up against also Chef of Algeria. Rivers United will, of course, face whoever wins this elimination between the two teams, Casa Sports and Etoile Flan, in that one. And those matches will come up around September 15 to 17 in Nigeria. For Bendel Insurance, the first leg comes up August 18 to 20, around that time. All right, Kennedy Idris, quickly, probably going to be your parting shot because we're pressed for time. 4 teams representing Nigeria. The prayer is always that by the time we get to the group stage, we have the 4 of them. We usually don't, but that we have the 4 of them in those 2 competitions. Yeah,
we usually pray, like we always say, luck of the draw is the first thing you hope for in situations like this. For Real Monsters, managed to dodge the North African team. We know what North African team did to them the last time. Now they are playing a Ghanaian side. For Eyimba Ali Benghazi, that's a handful for Eyimba, but we're counting on the experience Eyimba had gathered over the years. And for the CAF Confederations Cup representative, Bendel Insurance, that is so much for them, in their first game. But they say if you have to be the best, you just must come up against the best and beat them. And for Rivers United, I think they should do enough against Casa or Etoile as it stands. Whoever comes as it stands. I think they've been so consistent at this level for them to do well against these 2 teams. All right, and we're hoping that the teams will still get the support that they used to get. Austin, our parting shot is this CAF Continental club competitions. Your thoughts?
I've been taking a look at the teams, and none will be easy, maybe except for Rivers United when they wait to play that Casa from Senegal or Etoile from Burkina Faso. Let's begin with Ali Benghazi of Libya. That's a regular customer for Nigerian teams. So Eyimba must go and study and see ways that they can contain that team. And then for Remo Stars, Midiema, such a good team on top of the Ghanaian Premier League table. Out of 34 games, they won 18, drew 6 and lost 10, and led that table with 60 points. And then for Aso Chief, they finished 5th in the Algerian League. They will cause a lot of problems for Bendel Insurance because in their last 5 games, they were on fire. Beat US Constantine, beat USM Alger, and went, I think, 5 games unbeaten to end the season, though they finished 5th. So you know how we struggle against Algerian teams. I just hope that Nigerian teams will prepare adequately for this task ahead of them on the continent. With that, in London, I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
All right, Kennedy Idris, I want to quickly thank you for your time on the show. Conversation never ends. We'll take it out of the studio. Thank you. We'll do this again another time. Of course, we'll do this another time. It's good to be here. All right. That's the show today. We do hope you've enjoyed everything we've been able to bring to you. We'll do this again tomorrow. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.